Hello, welcome to the New Adult Lexicon. I'm Erin, and thanks for joining me today. Today, our word is work. Probably not everyone's favorite word, but it is a constant in our lives, and it's a word that can have a lot of impact on our life. It's in a very important part, and it can influence a lot of things in our lives. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit and give a little bit of advice on things like work ethic, career choice, passion, hard work, emails, coworker interactions, all sorts of stuff that we encounter and are related to our everyday work life. So come join me. Now, I think work ethic is something that gets talked a lot about in relation to millennials. We unfortunately get a pretty bad rep, and it's not obviously all true. But work ethic and hard work is very important. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean, constant overworking or busting yourself for long hours and bad pay at a job that you don't like, though that is life sometimes, unfortunately. Sometimes we just have to get through those days, months, years of our lives. But showing up, being willing, and always trying is so important. And I speak about this from a couple different experience angles. I worked as a teenager. As an adult, I've been in the professional corporate world for almost 10 years. And also as an adult, I worked a shift job with some other not other teenagers, but with teenagers and some, unfortunately, of those lazy millennials. So, it's kind of a broad perspective that I bring to this. Now, my first job as a teenager, I worked hard at. I was always willing to help. I did what I was supposed to do. And to this day, I still list that boss from my first job as a reference on things. And I'll tell you what, that gets noticed. It gets, commented on that I've had this professional relationship for more years than I'm going to admit right now, and that I can still list that as a positive reference. People remember effort, either its presence or lack of, more than a lot of other things. So you fucked something up. We all do. But you showed up and you tried and you didn't stand around. I mean, you didn't just do nothing. People will remember that, but they'll also remember the opposite. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have fun and goof off sometimes, because that is a part of pretty much every job, whether part-time, full-time, in the corporate world or a casual environment. Everyone likes to have a good time. Now, I've been asked numerous times for references from past colleagues or employees. Funny story about being called up by the FBI to give a reference for one of the worst employees I ever had. That was a fun conversation. But loyalty, work ethic, reliability, and teamwork are all the things that I am always going to comment on when someone does ask for a reference. So those are the things that stick with your employer or your colleague. Those are the things that a future employer is going to want to know about, and that is really going to help influence the next step in the interview process. So concentrate on those. Be a good employee. Just be considerate and helpful, and, not necessarily always being able to be willing to go the extra mile, though that does help, but just always being on task. Career choice and passions. Now, some of us spend our whole lives knowing exactly what we want to do with our lives. Some people spend a lot of time trying to figure it out before they do finally figure it out. Some of us happen to just fall into a job that works out wonderfully for us. And all these paths are perfectly valid. It's fine how you get to wherever you want to be. If you've been in the same career your whole life, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's boring and wrong. It just means that you were lucky enough to fall into where you were supposed to be early on. Now, that doesn't mean that if you are unhappy, you should stick with it simply because you've been there forever. But all of these paths are perfectly valid ways to get to where we want to be in life. Do make sure that you are doing something that you don't hate. Or make sure that you're at least working to change it if you are stuck in that position. Get on that path to, career choice, to career change that can help you get out of that. Find out what you're good at, what you enjoy. No matter how or when it happens, understanding ourselves, our personality, those traits that make us up, can severely shape the success of our professional life. What this means is understanding how those traits that we have work into how we work. We all work differently. We all succeed at different things. We all have certain skills. Are you analytical? Are you outgoing? Are you caring? Those are all things that we should look at when we just try to find a career that will work for us, that will make us happy, that will suit us. But be careful. Don't let those categories box you in. Just because you're one thing doesn't mean you have to be, this certain career. As I talked about in my personality video, one of my biggest breakthroughs, both personally and professionally, was realizing the difference between being an introvert and being shy. And it really changed my career path because it opened up these possibilities, these capabilities that I had ignored previously because I was in this box thinking myself as shy. So do it. Go on that path. If you are unhappy in your career, if you're still trying to find a career, figure out what you want to do, look at yourself and understand yourself and really take that to heart to try to find, the niche where you will fit in this world. Email etiquette. Now, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. And the thing is, emails are everywhere nowadays. Whether you're your own boss and you have your own company and it's just a little tiny startup, whether you work in a big corporation, whether you work in a mid-sized company, emails are used constantly, day in and day out. And honestly, for me, I love it. It cuts out some of that in-person contact that always made me a little nervous and awkward. And I can just cut right to the chase with a nice email. And I'll admit I'm a little bit more formal than some people. So some of these things that annoy me and that I think should be taught to all employees everywhere may be just a little bit of a quirk of mine. But there are a lot of things to think about when you are communicating with, colleagues or future customers or employers. There's a lot of things that an email can say, just by what it doesn't say or how it says something. So a few things that I think everyone should learn. I honestly think that there should just be like an hour course required for everyone, whoever is going to work, about email etiquette. 1, subject lines. Make a concise subject. It needs to make sense. Don't write your entire email in your subject line. I've seen that. It's so annoying. Don't start a sentence, ... and then finish it in the email body. So frustrating. Don't change the subject halfway through an entire email chain because you can't sort by subject anymore and figure out what's going on and who's involved. And it's just silly. Don't reply about one subject that has a different subject line. Start a new email. It's not that hard. It's like 2 clicks of a button, to new email. And here's my contact. So that is just helpful. It keeps everyone on the same page. Someone knows what's going on in an email, what it's about, etc. Turn on your spell check. Now that sounds really silly in this day and age because pretty much every program has an automated spelling and grammar check. Make sure it's on. Pay attention to those little squiggly lines. It's not that, it adds maybe 3 seconds to your workday and it will make your email much easier to understand. That small typo can actually change the entire meaning of a sentence. Reply all. Reply all if you should. Don't reply all if you shouldn't. Holy hell. Seriously, you've never been mocked till you've been mocked for sending an email to the entire company. And I didn't do that, but I'm the mocker. Seriously, don't reply all if you shouldn't. It just annoys everyone and spams people's inboxes. Here's one that annoys me too, and I know a lot of people don't follow, but have a signature in your email, or at least put your name. Some people may be getting an email from you and not have any idea who you are, or they've never communicated with you before. They don't know your name, they don't know your title, they don't know how to contact you. Plus, it looks so nice and professional to have a nice little email signature there at the bottom of your email. And lastly, work attitude. Work attitude is so important. It can be very instrumental in future career success or failure for numerous reasons. It can be within your own company or at your next step outside that company. Just like putting in effort, in the actual job, how we treat others, how we interact with others and operate on a team is all perceived by our coworkers and employers. So you never know, again, when you may need a reference, and making sure that people don't hate you, as well as actually appreciating your work and having been good at your job, is important. This will mean a lot of different things for different people. You don't have to be friends with everyone, though that is certainly an okay thing to try. But don't be a jerk and respect some of those rules, written or unwritten, in your workplace. Even if you're nice, if you're noisy and distracting, it will annoy those around you, and that is what will be remembered. Nothing annoyed me more than a recent coworker at my previous job who hummed all day long. Hopefully I will never have to give a reference because it won't be very nice, despite how competent this employee was at their job. So just have a good attitude. Be quiet if you need to be quiet. Just, again, don't be a jerk. Well, I think that's the end of my advice for today. Hope you enjoyed it and that you'll tune in next time for some more words and advice. But thanks for joining me on the New Adult Lexicon.